All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. This is the North Wasco County School District 21 regular school board meeting. It's Thursday, December 15th, 2022. If you all could please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to start. I pledge allegiance to the flag. All right. First thing tonight, just any review or revision to the agenda from the directors. I do have a couple, actually just one item under new business 1A, the integrated guidance plan update. We will not be doing that tonight. That'll be moving to our January meeting. So we will not be hearing that report tonight. All other things as presented are still happening tonight. So anything else or any concern moving forward with that one minor adjustment? Okay. All right, next is the reading of the district mission, vision, and value statement. I'll be doing those tonight. Mission statement is educating each student to the highest standards while motivating them to reach their fullest potential and graduating them to be college, career, and life ready. Our vision statement is our schools are a place where children belong. Each student is known by name, strength, and need, and provided the education and opportunities to achieve success. Lastly, our values, striving for equity, inclusion, and belonging, celebrating diversity, engaging the community, supporting the whole child, and promoting and achieving academic excellence. With that, that brings us to our student and staff recognition. And tonight, as I kind of previewed before the meeting started, we do have an amazing group of kiddos today. It's the Colonel Wright Elementary Troubadours. So give them a round of applause, and they're going to have some amazing carols for us tonight. Board members, they're going to be up here, so we'll leave our seats and head over to the side of the room during their performance.
You will recognize the two. She did very well. She just read that for the first time. Interestingly, stealing locked by Joseph Morris, now 240 years old, has been recorded over 733 times in the past 4 decades. It is sung in over 300 languages around the world. Today, we sing 4 of those to celebrate the delivery of our student bodies. We end our Christmas wish for you, and we'll sing it in Espanol, Portuguese, and English. Thank you for allowing us the privilege of sharing our seasonal cheer.
Thanks again to the Colonel Wright Elementary Troubadours. Really quick, we did want to recognize them, but the students that we just heard from were Caden Scott, Riley Mead, Owen Barham, Ileana Garza Alvarez, Eo Galt, Jenica LaFrenz, Eva Harris, Miguel Ganders, Faith Miramontes, Noah Cervantes, Lillian Tucker, Abigail Baker, Emilio Romero, Maitland Mitchell, Orlando Gutierrez Gonzalez, Misha Scott, Vanessa Ornelas Alvarez, and our music teacher, Ms. Ramona Harwood, and then Luke Fiera was as our principal at Colonel Wright. So thanks again to the Troubadours. Probably one of the highlights of the year when it comes to board meetings. So thank you again. All right, so that concludes our student staff recognition tonight, and we'll move on to our student representative reports. First, we'll hear from the Dallas High School and Audrey Hampshire.
Everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Audrey Hampshire. I'm the executive ASB secretary at the Dallas High School. I'm just going to report on some of the things we've been doing this month and that we have planned. Academically, we are in the third week of the second trimester. A couple of weeks ago, on Friday, December 2nd, the Lions Club did vision screenings for everyone in the school. They were completely free and they donated glasses to those who needed them. This week, we had the OBP radio program Think Out Loud broadcasting from the Dallas High School. Currently, our drama department is putting on a play called The Seussified Christmas Carol. Opening night was last week. Today, there is a program at 7 o'clock, and tomorrow is closing night at 7 o'clock. So go to support the drama department. All of our winter sports are underway. They're going great. We also just recently launched our annual car raffle, sponsored by the Gorge Toyota. They're donating a new car. They will be raffling it off at the home football game next fall in 2023. All different clubs and sports groups are selling tickets for $10, 9 of which will be going to the club and $1 will be going to the Ed Foundation. And this is sponsored by Gorge Toyota, Rachel Carter and Aaron Carter. Thank you to them. In the leadership class, we just wrapped up a event called the Giving Tree, where we give out a whole bunch of presents to elementary school students in the district. We just wrapped that up today. We got them delivered and everything. So hopefully they will be receiving those. And we are starting to plan our winter formal dance. So yeah, that's pretty much what we've got going on. Thank you guys for having me. Okay.
Thank you, Audrey. Next, we'll hear from the Innovations Academy, and it'll be Carrie Clausen.
We don't have much going on right now. We just had an assembly today where it was more of like a hangout and kind of just a calm down before our break, as today is our Friday at Innovations. We had the bleachers open for people who just wanted to sit and hang out with their friends. We also had a board game. We had a couple board games table. We had coloring table. We had a card game table, and then we also had face paint, and that seemed to be very popular. And then last term, every high school student got some sort of credit, no matter if you started with 0. And the students who did come into Innovations with 0 credits as a high schooler got up from 1 point to 1.5 credits to up to 5 credits completely. And that is because we have a hybrid system going. And so you get a total of 3 credits in person, and then you can get 2 credits online by yourself. And so you were allowed to work all of those credits up. And so it helped a lot of our students who came in with nothing, because we have some students who came from a different district or a different state that just none of their credits transferred over. And so luckily they all have credits now, and they'll be getting more this term. And then our leadership class is planning an April bazaar. And we'll start doing more of those in detail parts when we come back from this break. Thank you.
Here from the Dallas Middle School and Riley Elliott.
One School Board. I'm Riley Elliott, ASB President of the Dallas Middle School.
I'm Uresi Vasquez, ASB Vice President of the Dallas Middle School. The 7th grade boys basketball team season has ended. At the game on Monday against the Cicada, they won. The 8th graders also had a game on Monday. Both teams won their games. On Saturday, the 8th grade A team will play in a tournament at Corvette.
This week is Spirit Week. So far, 431 people have dressed up. Monday was Cozy Day. Tuesday was Ugly Sweater Day. Wednesday, Ducks versus Beavers Day. Thursday, Dress Up Like a Staff Member Day. And Friday, Holiday Gear Day. Gear Day.
Candy cane grams were delivered this week. We brought along some class officers and they'll be giving you your candy cane grams.
And Amelia Perry.
Sleigh.
I don't know.
Nothing. It was on the house.
We were supposed to have an assembly last Friday, but there was no school. So it was rescheduled for this Friday. We are going to do a reindeer relay and dress people up as snowmen. The cheerleaders are going to do a small performance. Hopefully, everyone will have school spirit going into the holidays.
There was a tag field trip to OMSI earlier today. Students really enjoyed the Marvel exhibit.
Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the holiday season.
The Candy Grams. Next, we'll hear from Dry Hollow Elementary School, Elias Jensen and Lydia Leducer.
First, thanks for having us here tonight. I'm Eli Shenson, and this is
Lydia Leducer. Lydia Leducer.
Just go.
Just to do. Just a quick FYI, Dry Hollow is located at 1314 East 19th in case any of you might wish to stop by and see us. You're always welcome. We are Vikings, but we're not really mean Vikings. Here's our monthly reports. On Friday, November 8th, Mr. Kaiser's 5th grade class led an assembly on the word of the month for November, which was gratitude. Thankfully, things went well. We planted seeds of gratitude during our skit. We are proud to say that some of those seeds have taken root. No one got sick and we all had fun.
our student council can drive wrapped up with the school children donating over 2,700 cans of food. The food was donated to St. Vincent de Paul, the Salvation Army, into the district ESP food drive. Dry Hollow parents, staff, and students are always willing to give generously and help others in need.
Our first trimester parent-teacher conferences were held on Monday and Wednesday, November 28th and November 30th. During the conferences, there was a scholastic book fair. Many people stopped by to purchase books and to buy Christmas presents for their family members. Miss Corey was in charge of the book fair. May I say that Wonder Woman, Miss Corey, is the best librarian our school has ever had. Anyways, thank you, Miss Corey. Thank you also to the parents that helped with the book fair.
On the 30th of November, we had a holiday sweater day where you could wear an ugly sweater or a really nice sweater. I wore what I thought was a really nice sweater, but everyone thought I was wearing an ugly sweater. So I just went along with them. No sense in rocking the boat.
On December 12th, we had our word of the month assembly. Do you know what the December word of the month was? Well, hold your horses. We'll tell you. It was patience. Several students performed a skit about patience. No one got sick and we all had fun.
Then last Monday afternoon, many student council members, along with Mr. Kaiser, rang bells for the Salvation Army. We felt a bit dingy doing it, but it was for a good cause.
Today, Ned was at Dry Hollow with his yo-yo show. The NED stands for Never Give Up, Encourage Others, and Do Your Best. Although the yo-yo assembly had its ups and downs, we enjoyed the yo-yo tricks and learned a little as well. No one got sick and we all had fun.
We have all been looking forward to tomorrow. Winter break will give us all a time to recharge our batteries and gain the energy you'll need to get through winter learning until spring break. We hope no one gets sick and we all have fun. Finally, before we go, just an FYI, school board members, the elf on the shelf is always watching you.
Oh. And Lydia, and that concludes our student representative reports for tonight. Oh, I apologize. I have a video on gratitude from Chenoweth Elementary School.
Vamos, maestra. I love you, teacher.
I'm thankful for art because it expressed my emotions. Bye. I'm thankful for nature, bunnies, trees, and I'm thankful for my school, my Slidesi, my Slapshawancha, and mommy and daddy and families.
All right, thank you to Chenoweth Elementary School, and that I think finally concludes our student rep reports for tonight. So next is the consent agenda. We have two items. We have our school board meeting minutes from our November meeting and then an updated personnel report. Any questions, comments from the board? Not, I'll entertain a motion for their approval.
I'll make the motion to approve as presented.
All right, that was second. All right, so we've got a motion by Director Richardson to approve the consent agenda as presented and seconded by Director Jones. Any further discussion, or if not, we'll move to a vote. Seeing none, and we'll go. Is Adrian here? No. All right, so Director Jones. Aye. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Stevens.
Aye.
Richardson. Chair votes aye as well. Review of our board action calendar. Not anything has changed on these. Just wanted to just kind of make a note. In January, we will be kind of starting our overall superintendent evaluation process, starting with an update from Dr. Bernal on progress towards the goals that she had presented earlier in the year. So that we'll be kicking off next month, in the month of January. Any questions regarding upcoming months? Okay. Next, we'll head into our school board subcommittee reports, starting with the scholarship committee. Director Stevens.
Haven't had any new meetings.
Okay. And community outreach team, Director Stevens.
Thing.
Okay. Wellness committee, Director Richardson.
It was canceled for weather, unfortunately.
Bummer. Okay. And let's see, Wasco County Forest Collaborative, Director Nelson.
Meeting on December 1st, and quite a few things happened at that meeting. So let's see. The Inflation Reduction Act was very appreciated because it funded the Forest Service with new money to hire many new people on their staff. And it also, I just happen to know, funded about 8 people, new staff members, all dealing with recreation and so forth in the National Scenic Area in the Gorge. But for the Forest Collaborative, they added a fuel planner, a botanist, a hydrologist, and a fire management person. So they haven't been able to hire people like that in years. So the Inflation Reduction Act was a welcome gift. Oh, also a supervisory biologist. And let's see what else. Another important thing that happened was Tim Hochschulbach is the policy and planning director at the state level. And the Congressional Bill 762 created some requirements on the state of Oregon. The state was to make a wildfire risk map. And the bill was signed in July of 2021, and they've been working on it. And then they had to kind of withdraw their work because of criticism from the public, and they regrouped and came back, and they're on a new timeline. It's a quick timeline, but basically the first part was to establish WUI rules. WUI is the wild urban interface line between the Mount Hood National Forest and private farm owners, property owners. And so that was one thing. And another is a statewide map. And then other things is like definitions for all of those things. The second part was to establish the map at a property ownership scale. And it had 4 categories: climate, topography, weather, and fuel. And then another part of that is risk mitigation measures that they have to address, creating in relationship to hazard areas for fire. So they have an area map statewide and an exposure map to that. So those are planning tools, they aren't regulatory tools. Let's see. For our Forest Collaborative is key to the success. Without our involvement, they couldn't have any of this money. They couldn't develop these plans. It all has to relate to the collaborative, the local level, people involved in interfacing with the Forest Service. And I think those are the important points. I do know that some of the things that the Wasco County Forest Collaborative, okay, so there's a project called the Gates Insect and Disease Project, and we're kind of closing on that. It's very important. We've worked on that for quite a while. And our interaction with that Forest Collaborative really amounts to about 5 or 6 things. We interface with them to conduct forest health treatments in priority locations, to reduce have a say on reducing tree densities and hazardous fuels, have a say on adapting forests to changing climate, have a say on restoration byproducts and timber products that employ local workers and contribute to rural economic development and the community's well-being, and to improve wildlife habitat for a diverse range of wildlife species. So that's kind of the work that we reviewed, and it's a lot of stuff. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Director Nelson. Next, the OSBA Legislative Policy Committee, Director Richardson.
And no report this time, Chair.
Okay, lastly, our D21 Ed Foundation, Director Jones. Okay. All right, that concludes our school board subcommittee reports. We'll move on to staff reports. And tonight we'll hear from Ms. Jody Ketchum, the D21 Education Association representative.
Great. Oh, somebody left me their notes. Okay. I do have to kind of I did type out what I was going to say, but I have to take the lead of that little Dry Hollow kid and let you know that Colonel Wright's address is 610 West 14th Street, and we would love to see more of you. So please feel free to stop by. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Anyway, I do want to say thank you to the school board and the superintendent for allowing us to speak tonight on behalf of D21 EA. There is some good news. We are 1/3 of the way into the school year, and most of us still love teaching and have hung in there. Okay. And love working for this district. We do have, some bad news. We have lost more teachers this year than I've ever seen in my experience in the middle of the year. So that is sad to see. It is disheartening. On another note, those of us that are in the trenches with this new curriculum are modeling what we preach to our students, such as when we're having feelings of this is difficult and uncomfortable, or we just want to act like a kindergartner and have a little tantrum or a little meltdown. We are telling each other to stick with it and don't give up and grow. And even though growth isn't easy, we will get through this. So the results have been worth it thus far. Many of us are through our first few arcs in Wit and Wisdom, and as well as our first few units in Foundations and Geodes. And we are finding that it is taking a little less planning time, which is fantastic. But now that we are into our teaching, it's starting to come with a little more ease again. Instead of having to stop and say, hold on, kids, I got to look at my manual again. We're starting to do a little less of that. So that's good. The rest of this first year and probably next year will still be difficult, as we all still need more help from each other to learn and to prep for each lesson. Our team planning time that the district has generously backed off a bit on some of our PD time and our PLC time and allowed us planning time has been critical. So we are very grateful for that. But with everyone teaching this new curriculum, we will get to where we see some pretty amazing results 5 years from now. And that is really exciting. So I think that's the gist. We're just all hanging in there and excited that Christmas is coming. As the kids are as excited, we are too. Looking forward to our 2 weeks off and hoping that the snow hits over Christmas and not in January and February. So thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Ketchum. Next, we'll shift into our new business with our presentations and reports, starting with the superintendent's report, Dr. Bernal.
Thank you. I don't have a formal report tonight. We were supposed to have our integrated guidance plan update, which will be coming before the board in February for approval before we have to submit it to the ODE. So we'll bring back that report in January. I do just want to take this time to thank each of our D21 staff. I can say that I don't think this year has been any easier than last year. Even though the COVID restrictions of how we do school are gone, we are still equally challenged with how we support each of our students, both social, emotionally, and academically post-COVID. So we've also had quite a bit of just illness making its way through our administrative team. So I just want to thank everybody for their hard work thus far this year. And I really hope this next 2 weeks brings a lot of rest and reflection for all of our staff, because it is very well deserved. That's all.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bernal. Next is our Chief Financial Officer's report, Ms. Kara Flack.
Great. So bond planning notes, as of when this was finished and published, we had a bond planning meeting, our 4th one scheduled December 6th. Due to weather, we didn't want people traveling, so we canceled that and postponed it for this week. Had it this week. It was a very good conversation. A lot to talk about, a lot of decisions to be made, and still some discussion to be had. So we are going to add another meeting beginning of January. We're looking probably the 2nd week in January. There's a lot of information, a lot of things to talk about, and making good decisions. So kind of a really quick version. Essentially, the things that just go through real quick that we are discussing is, again, size of a bond and whether or not a May or November election would be what would be a better fit for the community. So that's kind of a really long story short. Any questions?
Did they come to any conclusions about the size of the bond? I mean, what were the parameters of their discussion?
Well, the discussion that we started with was a range between 120 and 180 million dollar bond. 120 million will get us a minimal sized high school. Doesn't really give room for much expansion, but that's 120 million. 180 million will give us the high school for a little growth for expansion, tearing down Watonka and rebuilding the athletic fields in the area. And it just costs.
It what?
It costs a lot of money.
No matter.
Say that again.
No matter.
No matter. Yes. And prices are up over 30% for construction, at least right now. So it's a difficult time. We get that. Okay. There's no questions on that. I'll just keep rolling. Financial summary. I changed some things in the report. I'm trying to add some expansions just so you have more information from different areas and some other things. The positive news, which in the long run really doesn't affect us, but it's still a good cash flow issue to have. But our largest property tax collection that I've seen in the history of the district, just looking at numbers, is 10.2 million. And we're expected to collect 11.9 million. And historically, it's been around 9 or a little under 9. And part of that can be attributed to the addition of the Google Center coming on the tax roll. What that essentially does, it doesn't necessarily add $2 million to our bottom line. What it does is it goes back to the state school fund. So what I've already requested is ODE decreased our state school fund amount this month, because what this year by an equal amount of what we receive in additional revenue, because what we'll do is next year they will balance that and then they'll take 2 million back from us in next year. So we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we'd be upside down. So it's a net impact for us, but it's a positive impact for the overall state school fund. But if you take 2 million and divide it by the ADM across the whole state, it doesn't really attribute to much. So when people have discussion about it coming on the tax roll, I think it definitely benefits the local community, you know, fire departments, the county, so on and so forth. But the way the state school fund works, it's not, it is and it isn't, you know, it adds across the state, but how much it's added is different. So just some context around that. We do still get $240,000 each year in our enterprise fund. Just to remind you, that was a negotiated contract. I think we're in the 5th year of a 15-year contract, I believe. So we'll continue to get that, and that is what we're using to do capital projects. And we also opened that capital projects fund, and we're using the construction excise tax to go into that capital project fund. So far, we only have, I think we have 40,000 in there, so it's better than 0, but you know, it's slowly somewhere to start. So some of the projects we have in the works are, I'm going to keep talking about the food truck now that we actually have a pavilion, and I point at Kurt back there, but we will have a food truck at some point very soon. I hope. We have a really good lead on one. We're on the 4th one that we're looking at. So I think this one will turn out really well. It's a low price because someone wants to get rid of it. They don't use it. And that's really exciting. Our hope would be to have that, barring weather, in place by February at the high school. So we hope to see the meal count go up with that addition, and hopefully finding the right niche of what high school students like to eat out of a food truck and make it look neat. The other thing we are also doing is working with the graphic arts department to do a nutrition logo on our food truck. And it will also include our refrigerated truck that drives around, but kind of have an addition, but that's going to be designed by the graphics art class at high school. So that'll be exciting. Added just a few, I asked the athletics section just to add a few blurbs on how we were going. Unfortunately, the first home basketball game was canceled because of the weather, but they did have another one. And that's where they launched the raffle for the car, which is exciting. In addition, basketball, middle school basketball finished their season early because of illnesses, but 7th grade anyway. And we did launch cheerleading at the Downs Middle School. I think last I heard we had 23 participants that signed up. So excited about that. I think we got a coach hired, and we do have some community partners who are donating, I think, $2,000 to help us buy the mats and the things, because it's a new program. So I hope that goes well. Facilities is always busy, and you'll hear from me later about a vehicle for them. One thing that will help is we have a grounds lead. His name's Enrique. He is working on getting a pesticide license, which I just complained, but you have to have an organ to spray. So he's getting closer. That will save costs in the long run, which is nice. Continuing to work on, we did have to put in some HVAC installation at the high school, because some rooms were not built for what they were intended and are being used right now. So they actually needed some heat. It seems fundamental. So getting that taken care of. Nutrition, a very exciting And we hope that you all will participate in the actual event, but the Future Chef program, Tamara Taylor is going to bring in, I don't know if you've heard of it. I believe it's a Sodexo program, but they are going students, I believe it's 4th and 5th grade. 3rd, 4th, 5th. Stephanie knows all the answers. We'll submit recipes to the nutrition director. She'll pick a few and then we'll have a competition we're looking at sometime in March. So we'd welcome you to come participate and vote on the favorite dish. So that'll be exciting. Even though it's a long report and I know everybody all reads every word, I did include, we do work with the Columbia Gorge ESD, their technology department provides services to us. They do a fantastic report to their board, which I think John might already be on, so you probably already saw this, but I just thought it was a lot of interesting information and some of the things we work on all this collaboratively, but is some E-rate projects. We have a couple of big ones coming up, so we're excited about those.
What is the E-rate? What is E-rate?
Generally it's a federally funded program that helps you expand electronic access in rural areas. A lot of rural areas. It helps fund some of our projects. Trying to think of a good one. The one we're looking at right now is installing a fiber ring up into the district office and including Wetonka and Chenoweth. It's very poor connections, but then continuing to expand that. There's a lot behind it and there's certain things that qualify and certain things that don't, but it's a good way to continue to access. It usually does require a 10 to 25% match, which is pretty minimal when you look at the bigger picture project.
Good. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but as far as financials themselves, if you read this in color, there are some red looking things, but don't panic. It's between encumbered and expended, and those things will get cleaned up before the end of the year. So I know it looks scary. It's a budgeting tool that we have to, and then sometimes in the state grants, we get different grants and different programs. So we do have to balance that out. And we will get those fixed. And the one thing I did want to mention about federal funds, if you look at this orange looking, if you have color, this orange sheet, that does line out the CARES federal ESSER money. I just want you to know by the end of this year, we are expecting and we will have all of ESSER 2 fully spent. We still do have a balance in our ESSER 3 funds of 5.9. And do note that Moser still does have an allocation in this. They do spend pretty regularly. They might be spending all of their ESSER 2 this year, but their ESSER 3 is generally slated to do some HVAC upgrades at their school, just as an FYI. So that's kind of to be expected. This ESSER 3 does go through September of 2024 tentatively, unless they extend it another year, which the federal government can and may do. Any general questions?
I have a comment. So I noticed that you are having difficulty finding a safe routes to school coordinator. And I know that at the city level, there's been many people in the past that have worked on like sidewalk access, improving from the public works point of view, access to the schools and walkability, all of that kind of thing. So I'm suggesting that you contact the city and find some of the major people that have done that work and would know this kind of thing. There's got to be some names that people could come up with either from the planning department or from public works, and just target them and ask, are you interested in a job doing this? I think that might be helpful.
I'll just add yes. And I mentioned this to the chair of the climate change committee on the city councilman who was very, very interested in this. And they may have some people who are interested that just weren't aware of the posting because they're not normally or naturally looking at district postings. And so it might be a nice collaborative there. And I remember way back in the day, walking the routes with public health as well. So this seems like an opportunity for someone who's watching this, maybe who would be interested and just be the ideal candidate to connect those local governments.
No, I'll try those. And we do work very collaboratively with both the city, especially the city planning area in McKed, the Mid-Columbia Economic Development Council, I think is what it is. And they're very helpful. So I've sent it out to those, and we do have it out on Facebook to try and get it promoted. I did see that I had one applicant today that I haven't actually looked at yet, but I was excited to see one. Hopefully we just need one good one and the right one. So it's an exciting endeavor, and hope to continue to expand that. And we are still waiting to hear about the construction grant that the city actually put in, and hoping we receive that grant. That would be great to put sidewalks in around. It has to do with Chenoweth, but there was two different projects. I can't remember which, but it'd be great to have either one of those.
Oh.
But if you know anybody. Okay, I'll move right into enrollment. It's to be expected, but we did drop down 36. I think we'll see another dip by January that may start to come back. Looking at preliminary data, what I can see that schools have been able to confirm, there's probably at least 40 to 50 students that go out of country for the holidays and come back. They do stay longer than 10 days, which means we have to drop them off our system. So that's just an ODE requirement. So, but that goes back up, and come February, we'll see that count go back up. So it's kind of to be expected. But still holding pretty steady. It sounds like our counterparts in the area, Hood River and Dufur, they've seen dips as opposed to last year, and we're not seeing that, which is good. So I hope that continues.
Thanks for your format. I really appreciate the summary as well. And I found the financial report easy to read, and I was concerned about the readouts, but thanks for explaining. Yes.
Me too.
All right, anything else? Cool. Thank you, Ms. Flath. Next is our board attorney report. Anything, Mr. Corey?
I continue to be contacted and assist different administrators periodically on varying issues that arise, but nothing that needs to come before the board tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Corey. Next, we're into our discussion and action items. The lone action item that we have tonight is the approval for a purchase of a maintenance vehicle. So we'll have Ms. Flath present that.
Here we added one additional trades staff is what we'll say. And with that, generally each of the trade staff have a vehicle that they drive. It keeps tools, supplies, items. They can drive things around. And we found a local good deal on a vehicle, a diesel that's, you don't want me to quote too many things, but I think 2018 Dodge with 65,000 miles on it. But it's also a 3/4 ton, which we have 2 plows on existing trucks. One of them is been welded on for the last time. I guess the crack in the plow is not going to sustain, if you really want to know all this, but it won't sustain probably won't sustain the whole season. We don't know what the snow is going to look at, but we do know that we have to get schools plowed and open for business as soon as possible. So this seemed like a good opportunity. The vehicles, right now I'm trying to negotiate it. We're down to 42,000 and it looks like it's about 11,000 to get a plow installed on it. So that will help us keep schools up, and then we take the plows off when the snow's done. So just requesting authorization to purchase up to 55,000. We do have over 56,000 in our vehicle replacement fund. So just going to spend that pot for this year is what I propose.
Questions regarding the action item? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. I move to approve the chief financial officer to purchase a vehicle and a snowplow attachment up to $55,000 from the vehicle replacement fund.
All right, so I've got a motion by Director Nelson, seconded by Director Jones for the approval for the chief financial officer to purchase a vehicle and snowplow attachment worth up to $55,000 from the vehicle replacement fund, number 298. Any further discussion or comment from the board? Seeing none, then we'll move to a vote. Director Jones. Aye. Director Nelson.
Aye.
Director Stevens.
Aye.
Director Richardson.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you, Ms. Flath. Next, we're on to first readings on school board policies. So tonight we have just one. It is policy IK, academic achievement, and basically the language adjustments that we see are revisions needed so that we align with OAR 581-022-2270. So fairly minimal, just on page 1, and then also item number 5 on page 2. That we updated prior to second reading next month. If not, if there's anything kind of between now and then, that my way, and then we can get those updates included for review and discussion at the second reading in January. All right, we don't have any second readings tonight. So that concludes our policy updating for tonight, which brings us to our final item, comments from the audience. And do we have anyone signed up? I'm seeing heads shaking. So that brings us to the conclusion of our meeting. So I just wanted to say to all the staff, administrators, enjoy the next couple weeks with winter break, enjoy time with friends, family, or any fun stuff that you may be doing. So well-deserved break. So thank you, everyone. Happy holidays, and we'll see you in